So I got a question here. Who had the worst Philly related weekend? Phillies Karen or Jalen Carter?
I am Butler Eagle Sports writer Derek Pida, and here with me today are fellow sports writer Brendan Howe and Eagle Sports editor Jake Murda Adams. This is season 2 of the Alter Eagles Eye on Sports.
I actually guess should ask you guys the question of what is your rule of thumb for a ball hit into the stands? Home run, foul ball, doesn't matter. If you catch it in the is it fair game no matter what, or is it fair game only if the first person to touch it doesn't catch it on the first attempt?
I say first come, first serve. I mean, if you catch it, then it's your ball. If you try to catch it and you drop it, fair game.
So if you're there and you catch it, I think Jake means more of you catch it and there's like a 5-year-old kid next to you, you're keeping that ball.
Or more like a fumble scrum in football where like the guy who falls on it might not be the guy who gets it at the end because of all the
Derek's poking eyes at the bottom of the pile.
Like, so if the person catches it, I think we kind of all agree it's their ball. They can do with it what they want after that, usually give it to the nearest child or their son or daughter. But if it bounces off of them, it's then fair game for everyone, minus starting a fight, basically, probably.
Yeah. Everybody's getting on the Karen. We don't know. Maybe she has a grandkid at home or a kid at home.
So
we don't know. We don't know the situation.
So I'll explain what happened for those that didn't watch or haven't seen this yet. It went crazy viral over the weekend. The guy and his son went on to Philly's NBC station and talked about it. I think they might have been interviewed somewhere else as well. But there was a home run ball hit by Harrison Bader, Philly's outfielder who they acquired at the trade deadline. It bounces off of a woman who tries to catch it, basically like in her chest. It bounces off of her, hits the concrete, the row below her, and a guy several seats down because it's Miami Stadium and they have like 10 fans there. Runs the 7 feet over, grabs the ball, and walks back celebrating, hands it to his son. And
it was his son's birthday, too.
Yeah, it's his son's birthday.
Yeah.
They're thrilled. He's excited. And
out of nowhere,
this woman got down to that next row and like grabs him by the shoulder, turns him around, berates him. We don't obviously know what was said necessarily, but it had to be something along the lines of, that's my ball, that's unfair, blah, blah, blah. You have to give that back to me. And he eventually from what he said in interviews, he's like, I didn't want to do anything that would embarrass my son in public, potentially on TV. And I relented and gave her the ball. Basically saying like, I was about ready to lose my crap and decided better of it. I have heard of some stuff. I don't like actively stroll through social media anymore. So this is a little bit hearsay to me.
Stroll.
There apparently have been some videos that have come out since of fans in that section that appear to show her basically taking all these boos and like jeers that the fans around her are giving her. And in my opinion, deservedly so. And she's like flipping them off, cursing them out, like bragging about having the ball, taunting that she has the ball and, took it from this kid. And then there's Jalen Carter, who spat on Dak Prescott. And then we find out 2 hours later during the lightning delay that there was a second spitter, that Dak Prescott was the one who initiated it, but Jalen Carter was the one who got ejected from the game. So my question was, who had the worst weekend?
First of all, Dak, did he spit on Carter? He just
spit in the
general.
direction. Yeah, he spit in the direction of Jalen Carter, and Carter took it as an insult. And
spitting at somebody's feet is a lot different than spitting on someone.
Sure.
Both are disrespectful. But if you spit on someone, you rightfully should be punched.
So I would say this.
So Derek still needs to. You kind of said what you think about that. I agree with you on whoever gets it first. Yeah. It's like catching a bouquet at a wedding.
Ooh, those have caused some fights too.
Yeah, but usually, like if I'm in the scrum, I get in the scrum.
One thing I think we got
at the wedding.
We do have to, because the dad gave the ball to the Karen.
Mm-hmm.
you did see after game. I mean, he got all kind of Harrison Bader signed like a baseball and
yeah, the Phillies brought him down, and and then the Marlins gave him a goodie bag in the stand, like very publicly in the stands, in like 7 feet away from the woman.
Yeah. So he got. If you ask a kid, and obviously I'm not saying the woman knew that they were going to do this, but if you give a kid a choice, you get a home run ball, or you get to meet a Phillies player after the game, get his autograph, get your picture taken with him, get all this other stuff. I'd rather take all that other stuff. Now, the woman didn't know that both teams were going to kind of come together and give all that stuff to the kid. But as far as the social media stuff goes, I mean, I think she was in the wrong. But, I mean, on social media, she is just getting ripped to shreds.
Yeah. Yes.
I honestly don't think she deserves that. She was wrong. I agree with that. But
I think if she had
you
shown,
could take it too far. You could take it too far.
I think if she had shown more contrition, like if again, I haven't seen any of the videos, but from what I've heard, like the videos of her flipping other people off and like taunting with the ball, that to me tells me like, okay, this wasn't like a bad moment that you had.
You're just a bad person.
Yeah, you're just being bad right now.
I did.
I'm going to put this next to my Mike Schmidt autographed baseball.
I did have the thought, like, what if she had a disabled kid at home or something? But it was her. It's not what you say; it's how you say it.
Yes.
It was one of those situations where if she had gone over and said, "I'm so sorry," like, my son can't make it to these games, and all I've wanted to do is catch a ball for him. Would you know, I dropped it. I don't know. That's how I would approach a situation like that. Or, but again, she hasn't come out and said anything. So
I've now reached the age where like there's probably an expectation if I were to ever catch a home run ball, which I probably never will, that I would have to give it to the nearest small child near me, because that's kind of what it is as an adult. It's like you're not expected to keep the ball. There are some that do, but I think if I were in that situation, caught the ball, and there's a small child and everyone around is like, hey, give it to the kid, I would be like, okay, under one rule, I would like a photo with this ball, and then it's yours. Like, I would want to have some sort of memento of it, even though I can't keep the physical thing. So, like, if that was a case for her, that would be an interesting dilemma, but she could have handled that so much better.
Here's the ultimate lesson, right? At the end of
Don't be a jerk.
At the end of this life, right? We don't get to take any of these materialistic things with us. What we get to take with us is like our moral banks,
our reputation,
our reputations, like how we treated people in this life.
Why should that lady care what people think about her?
Like,
it's not about that. It's the fact that if she wasn't recognizing in that moment that he got that for his son and how excited his son was, and think about when you were a kid and something like that would happen to you.
She literally physically put her hands on this guy and like turned him around. I mean,
it's those things, right? It's like, let it go in that moment. And I think I can speak from experience because at my brother's wedding, I was 10 at my oldest brother's wedding. And I didn't know, because I was 10 years old, how big of a deal it was for a single woman in her 20s to catch a bouquet at a wedding. I didn't know that. I was 10 years old. And I jumped up and grabbed this bouquet and went like this. And this woman came over, I'm not even kidding, and she grabbed it and ripped it out of my hands.
That is a
And in my face was like, you're a kid, you don't. And I started crying because I didn't understand what was happening. So, but as an adult, I would never do something like that because I understand. First of all, I would have been like, what's this kid doing here? Like, you know, I'm trying to get my boyfriend at 7 years to propose to me. I need to catch this bouquet, you know, because I'm superstitious. However, it's just about character.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if it was something like that, be a better person. And that's kind of why he got all those things, because he showed character in that moment and he taught his son something. It's not the end of the world.
I wonder, you asked like if the kid, you know, would take the stuff that he got versus the ball. The one thing I have to weigh into that is the emotional letdown of what happened before he gets the other stuff. Is like, he's probably really disappointed and sad, and his dad's probably trying to explain to him like, there are some crappy people in this world, you know, this, that, the other, and he's just kind of upset. And then he gets the other stuff. So how much does it make up for that? Does he, you know, the beauty of being 10-ish years old or whatever he was, like,
just the moment easily. that moment that he'll never get back, where his dad is bringing the ball back to him.
Yeah,
that's obviously something that
it happened on TV.
I mean, they were zoned in on it too. It's like every camera was filming. So,
Brendan, what's your reputation going to be at the end?
I'm a nice person.
Speaking of the football game the other night, Carter, you know, I don't think he realized by spitting on Dak Prescott that was going to get him booted from the game. I honestly.
No, you're right.
What's the best? If you're a defensive lineman, now think about this. This is like football 101. What's the best way to get back at a quarterback if you're a defensive lineman? Spit on him before the game, or sack his butt 4 or 5 times during the game.
Exactly.
What is Jalen Carter's reputation going to be? Not a very good one.
He's currently heading towards Ndamukong Suh territory, but I also kind of like Ndamukong Suh. I don't think he was nearly as much of a villain as the football world made him out to be. And he's become like this entrepreneurial businessman post retirement. So
listen, I'm back on my Aaron Rodgers shtick here, guys. I know some of you think he's not a good guy, but after that game, I'm like, are you really married, or are you just trying to ward off us single women in Western Pennsylvania? Because let me tell you something. I'll commute, Aaron. I'll commute.
How are you guys feeling after Week 1's 34-32 victory over the Jets?
I feel pretty good, although I will say that again, and I said this during the offseason.
Not by the hair of my chinny chin. They just got
the
through.
defense, which looked bad, very bad down the stretch last year, did not play well. Now, it's just one game. And it's not like the defense didn't make any play. I mean, the last play of the game, at least the last meaningful play, was that pass breakup by Ramsey. Highsmith, I think, sacked Fields once. I mean, they did make a few plays here and there that helped the Steelers win the game, but they also gave up a lot of huge plays and 32 points that helped the Jets stay close and at one point have a lead too. So,
what we should do is we should start having a Steelers insider segment with Brendan. So, Brendan, you were on the inside on Sunday. You were at crappy MetLife Stadium.
Yeah, I don't like it much. There wasn't much character to it. They didn't have talking about keepsakes. I was hoping to bring something back from each NFL stadium I went to. They had nothing. No like cups. Like when I went to
the crappy turf that they have that injures every player.
I stepped on that turf. Actually,
you didn't tear your ACL?
No.
I'm surprised.
We were the last 3 reporters there, and it was like 8:30 at that point. They actually like kicked us out of the press box, and at that time, no one's guarding the tunnel. So I'm gonna try and make a tradition from here on out where I take my phone and I walk through the tunnel that the Steelers go on the field with and record everything. But yeah, no
and then
physical
send it to
keepsakes.
Did you go to like a gift shop?
No, like whenever I covered the Browns game in Cleveland last year, they had like it's actually pretty cool. They had like candy machines in the press box and plastic cups with the Browns logo on them, and you could just fill them with candy and walk down and eat the candy. Honestly, I wish the Steelers had that. It'd be pretty nice, but the Jets had nothing like that. I got a card that's in my backpack with like my seat reserved and my name on it, which was pretty cool. But other than that, nothing. The locker room after, it was the first time I've ever been in the locker room after a regular season game. That locker room is very cramped, probably on purpose with the visiting team. And as there's 35 media members in there, there's also bags on the floor with their helmets or shoulder pads, getting everything packed up to leave. Guys are walking in and out of the shower. It is a mess. Like, it's crazy. And I went down. My boss for Steelers now, Alan, he was finishing his game story, so he was like, you go down, you go to the locker room. And I'm trying to bounce from player to player as much as I can. And Jalen Ramsey hadn't talked yet. And I stood there for 5 minutes, like, waiting for him to talk, because when someone that big talks, everyone's going to go around him. So I stood there in the front, like, held my place. I got a question off, which I was pretty happy about. A few questions.
Was that the one that you got on CBS for?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. That was a big moment for me. That was pretty cool. It was a very emotional moment when I saw that.
This is the cheering sound that we need right now. Our boy just made national social media.
They didn't ask me for it. They didn't ask me for permission.
I bumped the trombone. I
texted out and I was like,
Brendan.
I was like, it's like this is so cool. It was
worthwhile.
I was like, this is so cool. And he goes, did they ask you for permission for that? I said, no. He goes, that's stealing. That's not cool. I was like, not cool, but still cool.
They gave you credit for it, though.
Yeah.
Like, I saw the little watermark on it, by Brendan
I didn't even know that I had gotten on CBS until my high school JV quarterback, actually. He's a realtor now, and we don't talk much, but he DM'd me it, and he said, like, this is crazy. And I looked, I was like, whoa. And funny story, he actually threw me the pass that I dropped. My last football play ever would have been a touchdown, would have won the game. But he made up for it. I made up for it. With the connection of him sending me that there. But I don't know. It was cool. It's week 1. There's a lot of weeks to go. So I'm hoping that I continue to kind of gain some recognition, because I work really hard for it, and I stay up until late nights.
We're clapping, live clapping in the studio, folks. No, I saw on Facebook when you shared it and on Instagram. And your family's very supportive. I love that.
Yeah,
your mom.
My mom doesn't listen to this podcast, but like her, like you can tell there's definitely a gap in like social media usage, and she had a blog when we were kids, so she's very. I'll show you the comment, but she's like calling me. She said like my boy is like, you've never called me that in your life, but you call me on social media. It's like, I don't know, I don't care, but you're happy for me, and it's funny because like I was talking to Bo Burchett's mom. She's one of my childhood neighbors is texting her about Friday night's game, and like I was telling her like my parents never told me what to do, like that because she was an English major. She told me and I didn't know that. I said I was actually very heavily thinking that going into college, and like people were pushing me that way, and I ended up deciding for myself that I was going to go for journalism, and I feel like it's starting to pay off. Like,
well, you're also 25.
Going to be 27 next month.
Okay, 27. All right. So
1 month exactly my birthday.
I mean, I think Jake and Derek and I can all speak to like so many things happen in every decade of your life, right?
Oh
Changes.
my God.
So
yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, when I was 26, I was like a totally different person. So yeah,
I do have to mention
ahead of you.
Bailey. I don't know how far we're in here. It's probably pretty far, but
You contractually obligated now?
No, she dressed up in a Steelers shirt, and she took eyeliner and made eye black.
Yeah.
Watched the whole game, was texting me about it throughout.
Aww.
She thinks DK Metcalf's attractive, and that's pretty funny. But
she's just trying.
I'm
she's
the opposite,
keeping you on your toes.
I'm
man.
the opposite of DK Metcalf, but she bet later in the night on. It was her first time ever betting. Her best friend put her on to DraftKings. She put a parlay on the Ravens-Bills game, and we're watching it back. We're watching it on the phone on our drive home. It's like late at night, and she needed the Bills to win. That's the last leg of it, 9 legs.
Jeez.
And they go down 15.
A 9-leg parlay?
She shuts it off, and she's like, I'm done watching this. Let me know what happens. Obviously, they start to come back. I'm like, you need to turn this game back on now. Like, turn it back on. And they ended up winning, so I'm going crazy in the car. She calls me. She's screaming. She's so happy. I was like, I don't know how lucky you are that the first time
seriously.
you bet, you win a 9-leg parlay. And she's like, I'm done betting. Like, I'm not going to lose any money. I was like,
I put $5 down on Devontae Smith to catch to go for 60.5 yards against the Cowboys. Like a zone defense, he's really good against zone. How many yards do you think that dude had on Thursday night?
I was just trying to watch some of the game.
38.
Keep
59.
going lower.
20.
He had like 17.
That's not good.
I don't often bet during the regular season. My choices were Saquon Barkley. My choices in my head was Saquon Barkley anytime touchdown or Devontae for 60. And Devontae was slightly higher odds for it. I was like, all right, let's.
Saquon scored, right?
Yeah, Saquon scored twice.
Yeah.
Of course. I hate betting. Hey friends, before we jump back in, just a quick reminder. If you're looking for all the latest high school football scores, schedules, news, and highlights around Butler County, make sure you check out this week's live coverage on our website. It starts every Thursday with features, previews, and more, and continues Friday evening with a live blog we update throughout the games and post-game recaps after that so you don't miss a thing. ButlerEagle.com/section/sports has everything from local highlights to player spotlights. So it's a great place to stay caught up on all things high school football, soccer, and the rest of the fall sports. That's ButlerEagle.com/section/sports. Also, if you're enjoying this podcast, it really helps us out when you rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen. And don't be afraid to tell your friends and family. We love word of mouth. It not only helps more people find us, but it also lets us know what you'd like to hear more of. Thanks for your support. Now let's get back to the show.
Something we do
Butler.
not bet on. High school football, week 3. Last week we had Carn City and DuBois combining for 98 points. We had Knock and Mars. Both of their games came down to a field goal try. North Catholic puts up over 60 points again. It was an action-packed week. Jake, from the pilot seat back here at the Butler Eagle office, what were your thoughts as all this was coming in? A lot of exciting endings last week.
So I decided on Sunday that I was going to make my own little personal power rankings of the top 5 teams in our area. And this is waiting a little bit what classification they're in, their strength of schedule, expectations going into the season. This is not perfect. This is not necessarily a team 1 would be all of the other teams. Team 2 would be every team but team 1. This is my own unscientific method. I have Mars, North Catholic, Freeport, and Karn City and Butler in my top 5, and Freeport and Karn City are like neck and neck there at 3A and 3B. Outside looking in, Union AC Valley, so that way we have all of our top 5 or our undefeated teams. I did not realize, and Brendan, you can talk a little bit more about this here in a minute because you just did the interviews for it, but North Catholic's running back going for 1,000,000 yards. I had I had several games streaming, and I'm trying to bounce back and forth a little bit throughout the night. And I knew that the game was a barn burner there, but I had no idea he was anywhere close to 300 yards. So that was wild. Mars has a penchant. This time last year, we were talking about Mars having one in Florida in this dramatic way. Oh my God, how great is this team going to be? Immediately lays 2 stinkers. This year, almost the same start. Gabe Hine goes off for 1,000,000 yards and touchdowns in game 1. And we're like, okay, let's see how good they're going to be. And now they win 2 games on almost last second plays. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, it was a late touchdown and an interception to seal it on defense with like 2 seconds left, and this week it's a blocked field goal to prevent overtime. Mars is feeling themselves right now, and they're gonna have a big one against Aliquippa this week, and a couple other big games coming up here soon too. We'll talk about that Aliquippa game later, but Mars is this has been a really good start to the year compared to last year. Like, I can only reference last year right now, but last year's start, Karn City was 3-0. Maybe that was it. It was we had a lot of teams that were kind of out of the race early, and this year's not the case.
Karn City, Mars. As you said, their offense. We saw what they could do. We kind of had an idea what they were going to be able to do coming into the season, even though they had to replace Kasparovich, the running back last year's Butler County leading rusher with over 1,400 yards with Aiden Yoakum. But we knew they had Gabe Hine and obviously a big offensive line coming back. But to win a game where they kind of got held down offensively, they scored 13 points, and to win a game where their defense had to show up big, I thought that's very important for Mars moving forward to show, they're not just a team that's going to go out and score 35, 40 points and, hope that their defense can make a play at the end maybe. Their defense played obviously well the other night, and the special teams came up with a blocked field goal to keep the game from going into overtime. One
thing I think is worth mentioning, and I don't remember this off the top of my head, the kicker that they blocked is a Division I recruit, like one of the best in the nation. That's pretty special there. I mean, wow. Blocked field goals are largely random luck, but
how
that's crazy.
Ironic is that that was Mars's game against North Hills. I covered Knock against Fox Chapel. Their game came down to a field goal by a Division I recruit. His name, Heron Zarakat. That's his name.
That's a wild name.
Heron Zarakat. The guy regularly kicks field goals from like 60 yards in practice. He's going to the University of Georgia. He comes on last week with about 11 seconds left in the game to kick a 22-yard field goal. And you're thinking, okay, this guy's going to – the guy kicks 60-yarders. He's like Chris Boswell. Well, a kid for Knock actually got a hand on the kick, but the guy booted it so hard that it still went over the crossbar.
Wow.
So you got 2 Division I kickers, one for North Hills, one for Fox Chapel. One gets blocked by Mars. Mars wins the game. The other one gets blocked by a Knock kid, but it still goes through the goalpost, the uprights, and Knock loses the game 20-18. They came so close to picking up that first win under TJ Wiley. Really heartbreaking loss for them because you look at Knock, their first game they got shut out by Kiski. Mm-hmm. Second week they gave up 69 points to North Catholic, and to come that close to picking up their first win. Coaches always say that kids are able to let losses go easier than coaches do. The coaches kind of like think about it and kind of weighs on them. I hope that's the case as far as the players, because I know that loss would still be with me if I'm a Knock player. You come that close, we actually blocked the field goal. It still goes through the uprights. I'd still be down. Yeah. What else can you do there, Brendan? What are your takeaways from week 3?
So I've talked before about how I'm uniquely equipped to cover Butler and their turnaround, being that I stood on the sidelines and played for them like my 3 years varsity, and Friday was my first home Butler game I'd ever covered, which was a full circle moment in itself. But I'm standing there, and they go 3-and-out to start the game. When I played, we went 3-and-out to start the game. Usually that was a pretty foreboding situation. So that happens. They fumble the ball late in the first half, or first quarter, and they lose the ball. That would have been a crusher. They come out in the second half, the first play of the second half, Meadville kid runs for, I think, a 56-yard touchdown. They get the ball, they score, they kick the ball back to Meadville, 80-yard touchdown. 2 plays, 2 ridiculously long touchdowns. That could kneecap them. And then late in the game, they give Meadville the ball back with a chance to tie it up. And that didn't stop them. So I'm sitting there as the game is going on thinking, like, man, this would have crushed us when I played. Like, this would have been a very bad sign of things to come. Each time they got over that. And when I talked to them after the 3-0, first time since 2002, I wrote that. It was kind of funny because I wrote that story about them getting the donuts. Mm-hmm. And one of the moms gave Nico Baguetta money for donuts the next day. As I'm interviewing him, they come up and I was like, hey, so that was pretty cool.
Sure, was an NIL.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe they should get an NIL for a donut job.
There you go.
I would want a cut of that, honestly, for the work that I've done here. But it is really, really cool to see them start. And as much as I'm like kind of envious of, man, I didn't get to enjoy high school football in this way. Like Bo Burchett, like I mentioned, I've known him since he was like that big. Couldn't even really say his name right. I remember like he'd say Bo Burchett or Bochett. And now he's like this grown man almost. He's bigger than I am. He's talking to Duquesne, by the way, which I think is pretty cool. Like, he's getting some interest. Stone's back. I talked to him at Media Day. I'm not sure how much you guys got to talk to him, but just like a
those two were
crazy
entertaining
character. Like,
yeah.
Part of what I talked to them about on Friday night is they're very yin and yang. Bo's very quiet, reserved, just humble. And Stone, I noticed at the end of the game, and this is like part of why I cover games from the sidelines, he goes to the student section and he's like,
yeah.
And they go crazy. And it's like this pro wrestling type pop. And I talked to him about that after. But like I said, it's awesome to see what they're doing. And I don't know the last time they went 4-0. I didn't get to look, but I'm sure it's been obviously past 2002.
I was probably in high school, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think.
And I'm 47.
I think Coach Christie was at the helm at quarterback for them. So that, and like you said, I talked to Logan Shade yesterday. Not the type of kid you would expect to run for 345 yards. He's not big.
He was, what did you say, like 150?
He said 160, 165 on a good day. And I talked to their dad. I found out he has a twin. He has a twin, and did you get to read that story?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a twin, and I kind of spun that story. I won't give too much away about it so people can kind of enjoy it. But
they'll read it by the time they listen to the show.
Yeah, so the funny thing about that is he ran for like 245 of those yards and those 4 touchdowns in the second half, which they obviously needed. The 65-49 win, and when I read that it was 345 yards and I texted you that eventually, I thought it was a typo on Twitter, and I told him that. I thought it was pretty funny, but talked to him for 20 minutes yesterday. Really nice kid. He was a little nervous at first, opened up. So I think that'll be one that people enjoy. I'm hoping that this week is just as exciting as last week, especially with the games we're covering.
We know what North Catholic's passing game is capable of. I mean, Filitsky was stat-wise the best quarterback in the WPIAL last year.
Yeah.
Riker Kennedy had the most receptions of any player in the state last year with 97. They got Preston
is insane.
They got Preston Simcoe from Butler, who's transferred down there. Tommy Arth, who can do everything. He actually stepped in and played quarterback last year when Filitsky was hurt for a couple games. And but he's mainly a tight end for them. You throw a running back who's putting up those kind of numbers on that offense.
Well, last year did they have a running back who had 300 yards for the season? Like, they had no run game. That was one of their biggest. That was one of their biggest weaknesses last year, from what I remember.
They didn't have a guy putting up the numbers this kid. I mean, what does he have now? Like 600 yards already?
I didn't look at his previous 2 weeks total because we haven't had like set stats from North Catholic, but he's definitely the leader in the county. That's for sure. Whenever I put those stats together tonight and tomorrow, I would say that he's up there.
North Catholic.
It's
tough to stop. Needless to say, that team is just.
I think the Steelers could stop North Catholic's offense right now.
Be close.
Yeah, I was listening to some stuff about like those are 2 of the best defenses in football, and they let up 30-something points each, and I'm like, I wonder if they're going to be that good this year. If they're, we'll talk more about Week 1 NFL, but that was an interesting game to watch.
Joe Sprumont is in his 16th season as head coach of Freeport's golf team. The Yellowjackets have won 3 straight WPIAL Section 1-2A titles, and they are on the verge of making it a four-peat. Freeport is currently 11-1 overall, 8-1 in section play, and Joe is taking some time to join us here on the Eye on Sports podcast. Joe, thank you for your time today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and thanks for just all the coverage for our team this year and every year over the years. You guys do a great job. We appreciate it. So,
thank you for those words. It's not over till it's over. We always hear that in the sports world, but your golfers are very close to another section title. Joe, what needs to happen this week for the team to clinch another crown?
I believe we would need to win 2 of our last 3 matches. So we have 2 section matches Wednesday and Friday this week, and then another one Tuesday and next week. So I think as long as we win 2 of those 3, we'd do no worse than a tie for the section with Deer Lakes, who I know we just mentioned before we came on, has had a really good year. So if we win all 3, I think we win it outright. And if we win at least 2, I think we'll get at least a share.
It's so by the time this episode drops on Thursday, you guys could have the magic number could be 1.
Yes. Yeah.
If you guys do close the deal, what are your thoughts on just winning a 17 section championship, the run that's been, the legacy that creates, and what keeps you as coach coming back, to lead this group?
We have a great thing going here. It's really fun for me. Golf is a sport where, I have a background in basketball as well, and played up through high school and college, played at Bethany College actually, and then coached basketball at various levels here at Freeport earlier in my career. And I really enjoyed it, but it's, it tends to be really a grind, a lot of game planning, practice planning, if you're doing it the right way, scouting and constantly, considering any number of things. So for golf, it's a coaching outlet, it's a competitive outlet, but it's also, I like the balance that it kind of allows. But also, we just have a great thing going at Freeport. We have Buffalo Golf Course is 2 minutes from our school, and they treat our kids and our team great. They've been there for years and years, long before I was doing this. And we have a great boosters group. We have great support from our school, our administration, and everybody, and a lot of interest from kids in the community in golf. So it's just a really good thing to have going, and it's fun. And I feel fortunate to be a part of it. So want to keep doing that for as long as possible.
The thing that is curious to me about your answer there is you talk about like the grind of it. So I've been bowling since I was like 2 years old, basically since the day I could walk. My parents put me on lanes and just like let me chuck a ball down the lanes and see what happens. I look at golf as very similar to bowling, where it's all on you, and every little micro movement in your body can change the outcome of a shot. And it's an infuriating sport. It's a love-hate relationship that I have with bowling. And I cannot pick up golf because of that. Like, I don't need 2 of those sports in my life. And then you sit there and say basketball is a grind, and I'm like, you are crazy.
Well, no, I meant too from like the coaching standpoint of basketball. Like I said, just even coaching, I coached junior high basketball for a handful of years, and it's just every day it's like, what's the practice plan? What went wrong yesterday? What can be improved upon? And golf, on the other hand, I mean, there is that, obviously we're always trying to improve and look at different things, but just by nature, like you said, it's a little more individualistic. And, for example, for scouting, like in the weeks when fall sports start and before school starts, we try to go as a team, a varsity team, to the 2 or 3 of the away courses that we're going to see this year. So playing those courses, playing practice rounds at unfamiliar courses or less familiar courses, that's kind of how you scout. So it's just a different kind of by nature. And it's just, I don't know, the basketball coaching, like I said, I enjoyed a lot of aspects of it, but it also just kind of was a little more tiring and wore on me a little more than this is, like I said, I don't know, just a very, the time balance, the stress level is all a little more favorable, I guess you could say, to like a longer coaching for a longer time than compared to basketball. But you are right about mean, I play a lot of golf, and you're right about how frustrating and love-hate it can be. And I'm sure that a lot of golfers and probably a lot of the kids on our team would agree.
It just takes like one bad, like the tiniest thing, and what you think is a good shot, the whole chain goes out of whack. You guys had a really tight match against Deer Lakes. We were talking about that pre-interview here. I think like a 5 or 6 stroke difference between the two teams.
Actually, it was 2. It was 195 to 197. Yeah, just 2. Both teams played really well, and unfortunately, we didn't come out on the right end of it. But it just, if you would have told me when we were discussing it after the match, I said to our kids, like, sorry, there's a bell in the school. I know you guys probably picked that up.
It's all good.
All right, just shut.
Oh my God.
This is definitely going in bloopers at the end of the year.
All right, I think we're good now. But so just to pause and kind of reset here. So Deer Lakes, 2-stroke margin, 195 to 197. Our kids played really well. It was at Deer Lakes course. So to shoot a 197, to shoot sub 200 when 5 scores count, and that's an average of, I believe, 39.4 per player at an away course that's very different than Buffalo, a course that we did do a practice round at a few weeks ago. If you had told us before the match you're going to shoot 197 today, what do you think? I would have liked our chances, and I think our kids would have too. Deer Lakes they played awesome. When I was out there, monitoring the match, it didn't seem like either team really missed too many shots, but you could see like just every first tee shot for Deer Lakes was like right down the middle. Just they just really, really played well. And I said throughout the year, I'd heard that their scores would be getting lower and lower and better, and they just had an awesome day. So
the question I was getting to with it is Ethan Crooks shot a 36 for you. He's been like your leader most of the season. You guys have a pretty deep team, obviously, a bunch of guys that can shoot under 40, but what is the strength of his game? How would you kind of describe him? What's his potential this season? He already made a WPIAL individual final last year. So where do you think he's going this year?
I think he has potential to do obviously the same and then some. I'd say just kind of the sky's the limit on his season. So we've had 12 regular season matches plus a scrimmage match, and he's been in the 30s in every match. And as you guys have seen, not just in the 30s, but usually in the mid 30s, even with a low of 33. And as far as you're saying about describing his game, to be able to play like that and play so consistently, he clearly is the total package. He doesn't really have a weakness in his game. He is a tall, lean, athletic kid, so he hits the ball a long way. And in modern golf, that seems to be more important than ever. So that certainly helps. That may be the area that he's best at, but he doesn't just simply hit it a long way. He's very accurate. His irons and wedges are very accurate. I think of the Riverview match, which Riverview's another good team in our section. And we had a close one, 1 by 5 at their course at Green Oaks. And on the last hole, he hit one to like 2 feet max, maybe even less, an iron or wedge shot just for essentially a tap and birdie. But he had, he's had chip-ins this year. He putts well. He really does not have a weakness. So we've had some good players over the years. It might be like this kid just has a tremendous short game, but with him, really, it's everything is good.
Who else has kind of stood out to you? Have there been any surprises?
As far as surprises, we've had 2 that have cracked into our 6, the varsity lineup for varsity matches. One is a freshman, Jackson Kane. His older brother Carson's on the team as well. I saw him at Buffalo Golf Course over the last year, probably as much or more than any kid or most or any adult, just out playing golf when I'd be out there myself or when the team was there last fall. A kid that just really fell in love with the sport and just played numerous amounts of golf. So as a freshman coming in, he's been mainstay on our varsity team, been in most of the matches. And then another kid who has been kind of with Jackson, kind of in our competing for our number 6 spot, would be a kid named Trey Schreckengost. And he's a baseball's probably his main sport. He's a pretty good baseball player. He was in our golf program on our JV team as a freshman, and he's into sports in general. He played soccer last year as a 10th grader. And then he told me last year in school that he was going to come back to golf, that he wanted to come back. So he came back this year, tried out, and improved his game to that point where, like, he's not just on the team, not just, on the roster, but he's been a varsity contributor. So, and like, he had a 42 in our win at Hampton, who's AAA at their course, Wildwood, last week. So he's someone who's certainly, like a year ago, like I said, he was playing soccer. So, we could project our top 5 on paper were 5 of our top or better players last year. But like I said, Jackson Kane was only in 8th grade, and this Trey Schreckengoss kid was only had switched sports, so didn't realize he was going to come back and contribute so much.
Joe, tryouts seem to be a little bit different between every team. Just to give you an example, I did a story on a Mars golfer earlier this year, and I found out that Mars tryouts were 3 straight days, 18 holes per day, a different course each day, which I thought was pretty unique. They had tryout an 18-hole round at Suncrest, Connolly's, and Pheasant Ridge. What exactly do the tryouts at Freeport entail? How long do they last? And is it all at Buffalo Golf Course?
It is all at Buffalo Golf Course. And as I said, I'd be remiss to not mention just how great Buffalo is to our team and our kids and me. And just, it's a local family-owned course since 1967, but we always say that they don't have memberships, but our kids feel like the members there. They're just awesome to the high school kids and the other teams too, but especially to Freeport. So that's where we do all of our summer stuff, with the exception, like we said, occasionally we'll go play a course that we're going to see later in the season. So our tryouts were also 3 days like Mars, but they're 9 holes rather than 18, and each day was at Buffalo. And we basically run it like a 3-day tournament, a 3-day stroke play tournament. And we also have, whether they're other staff members from the school district or workers at Buffalo or recent graduates from the team, we have an adult with each group that just ensures, like, scorekeeping, just to make sure everything's on the up and up. Not that it wouldn't be, but just to ensure the integrity of the trial process. When, coaches can only see one group or so many holes, only a hole or 2 at a time. So that also adds an element of pressure and kind of seriousness and gravitas that the kids are, playing, that it's not just another day of coming out in the summer and playing golf, that it means a little bit more. And at the end of the 3 days, we total up the scores, and that's how we determine our varsity and JV teams.
You've mentioned Buffalo Golf Course, the home of Freeport Golf, several times already. As long as I can remember, and I've been here since '02, that's been the home of Freeport Golf. So what can you just how would you describe the back 9 there? Because that's where you guys play your matches.
Yeah, it's for Western PA, it's pretty flat. It's a relatively flat, very walkable course. So that's nice for the high school kids, obviously, that they're walking. It is funny. Sometimes we'll go to another course and the kids will remark about how hilly, or just they can't believe it. And I'll say to them, like our kids play a lot of golf, but they obviously play a lot of Buffalo. That's Western PA. That's the geography. Yeah. That's the land. That's most golf courses in Western PA have some hilly, quirky holes. So I'd say Buffalo, very straightforward, good layout. I wouldn't say there's any quirky holes there, especially on the back 9. It's pretty straightforward. You said fairly flat. It's not completely wide open, but it's not super tight either. So there's a little bit of sand, a little bit of water, a little bit of high native grass. So there's some areas where you can get in trouble, but I think it's good for high school golf too, in that it's not, like I said, it's not overly easy, yet it's also not extremely difficult. So it really, in so many ways, is just a perfect fit for our team and our kids. And another thing I like too is I don't think there's any, except for maybe hole 11, if you try cutting the corner there, there's no blind shots. It's very straightforward. There is a reachable par 5 for some of our bigger hitters, number 13. But yeah, it's just a nice, straightforward, traditional golf course that our kids fortunately spend a lot of time at. And like they said, they're great to our kids, and we feel like we have kind of a home course advantage there too.
And you have a few golfers, obviously, a lot of holes during a match. How much of a match do you get to see while you're out there?
Try to see as much as possible. We usually watch the kids go off the first tee once all 4 groups, because there's the 6 that play in the match and then 2 that play as alternates behind the match. Once they go off, then usually go out to a certain point on the course, a few holes in, and kind of see each group come through as much as possible. I try to check in with each group, a few times during the match, but it is difficult because they get going and they're all in different spots. So really just try to monitor as best you can, make sure everything's going well for the kids as far as, like on the really hot days. Our parents, our boosters group is great about a number of things. They'll send a cooler out with water for the kids, like just that kind of stuff. So just try to let them go play and try to not put too much pressure on them and just be there to check in with them as needed.
Yeah, you mentioned a background in basketball. What is your background in golf? In high school and college, did you play?
So I got into it in the late 90s just with Tiger Woods making it, kind of cool. I was just a kid that was into a number of different sports. And I did play. I went to Norwin High School and did play on the team there. And then in college, I did not play golf. As I said, I played basketball at Bethany College. And but I remained an avid golfer and really interested in golf. And then I started teaching in Freeport, and a couple years in to the time of teaching here, the previous coach before me, and you guys had said about the number of section titles that we could be on the verge of 17. Dave Punich, who unfortunately just passed away after some health battles over the years, just about a year and a half ago now. He did a great job of setting up the program here, establishing a varsity team, a JV team, really not only having the teams, but that having won 9 section titles in the 19 years he did it. Finished second in the WPIAL and as a team in 1994, one of their first few years. So it was a great program that was established, and I'm a teacher here, teach social studies at Freeport, and there was a need for a golf coach. He retired from golf coaching after the 2009 season, and just being somebody who enjoyed golfing and had played in high school, and plus, like I said, with basketball, just kind of having like a coaching, I guess, mentality, you could say, it was something that interested me. And I didn't have any idea at the time, like, what a great situation we had with Buffalo Golf Course. I had played Buffalo on my own a few times, but I didn't know, like, what it was like with the team there. And I didn't know how much interest there was in the community about golf. And I didn't realize how much I'd enjoy it myself. So, like I said, they needed a coach. I applied for it and just kind of worked out. And I feel fortunate that it did.
So Tiger in the 90s got you into golf. Who do you watch now? Who's your favorite?
It's probably, I don't know if you guys kind of have the same feeling, like as you get older, I don't know, it's most of the guys are younger than us now, or younger than me. So like
Brendan's not there yet.
So Scotty Scheffler, I mean, is awesome and has had like this Tiger-like run the last few years. But I mean, he's also, I think, like over a decade younger than me. So you don't maybe look up to him as like a hero in the same way. I guess one thing that's changed for me is I think I watch it more now just for the tournaments, the tradition. Obviously, the Masters, the tradition, unlike any other, right, is such a draw for sports fans, even non-golf fans. But that stuff interests me just as much as anything. The different majors at different courses. This year was obviously awesome with the U.S. Open at Oakland. I watched countless amounts of live from the U.S. Open on Golf Channel that week. But just kind of becoming a fan of the game in that way. One guy I do like, actually a couple, I guess I could mention. There was a player on our team 10 plus years ago, Mickey Frazetta, whose family, he was a very good player, went to the state playoffs, one of the top players in the years I've been doing this. His family knew Justin Rose and introduced me to him. So like just having met Rose once, and he was really great and really gracious. Met him when they used to have the World Golf Championship tournament in Akron, the Bridgestone. Obviously, I have a little extra interest whenever he's in contention. So it's cool to see him win a few weeks ago in Memphis. And actually, speaking of Rose, I would have loved to see him get a Masters. But I do like Rory, too. I think he's been good for the game. I respect the stand he's taken on a lot of things. And it was cool to see him complete the career Grand Slam.
Yeah, absolutely. So for you, did you get a chance to go to the U.S. Open at all? It sounded like you just watched it on TV this year, right?
Well, I watched a lot on TV. I did go. I was able to go down on Thursday as well.
So is it stuff like that, or do you have another favorite memory as a golfer or fan of golf?
It's kind of both. I saw that question when you guys said it. I've been fortunate to get to play Oakmont multiple times. So just getting to play Oakmont would have to be, you said, most memorable moment on a golf course, just from my personal golf experiences. So actually at that same course, not in the U.S. Open though, of course. But just getting to play there and this walk off I remember the first time walking off the tee, like down the path to the fairway, just thinking you're walking in the footsteps of like every legend of the game that's played there and so many that won there. That was really cool. That was really special. And just being there in general, our team's gotten to play a couple matches there because Riverview gets a match or two there a year. And the individual finals for boys were there 3 years ago now. We had a golfer, Nate Covey, who got to Oakmont and then advanced as well. So just being able to be there for those events, and whether it was, like I said, playing on my own or with the team, was just pretty surreal.
What is your favorite golf movie? Is it a typical one?
Yeah, probably Caddyshack.
All right.
I have to say. I mean, so quotable. And
my 5 Monopoly bucks, I won.
What's that?
I said my 5 Monopoly bucks, I won. It had to be Caddyshack.
I say I don't really know a golfer that doesn't like it or would say. I mean, obviously Happy Gilmore's up there too, but just Caddyshack it's Caddyshack, right? So
Joe, my arm, it's broke. It's broke.
Yeah.
Have you seen the sequel to Happy Gilmore?
I actually have not. Was it Netflix?
Yeah.
Is that what it's on? I know I'm like one of a few people in the U.S. that doesn't have Netflix, but no, I haven't seen it yet. I'll try. I'd like to see it at some point. I've heard good reviews.
It's definitely not as good as the first one. Happy Gilmore is a classic, but it'll do. I'll put it that way. It'll do.
That's kind of what I heard. Yeah.
John Daly probably steals it a good amount of time.
Okay.
He was kind of funny.
There's a number of big names, cameos.
Oh yeah.
Professional golfers. So.
Oh yeah.
Joe Sprumont, Freeport golf coach. It's been a great season so far for the Yellowjackets, and Joe, we wish you and the boys the best of luck the rest of the way. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Can I mention one other thing too?
Sure.
Just when you guys asked about Ethan Crooks and then the kids who were surprised, so I mentioned those three. Just for our varsity roster this year, I just wanted to, and I don't know if you guys could work this in at some point or whatever, but you've seen the names, we send them in, but we've been such a good team. And like yesterday, the score 197, or a lot of these wins, a lot of these scores, you guys are saying a lot of kids shooting in the 30s. Just besides Ethan Crooks, Aiden Bauman and Carson Kane, Jackson's older brother, both seniors who've been good players for going back a few years, especially in Aiden's case. Carson switched from football to golf last school year and kind of hit the ground running with that. They've both been key players. And then a couple juniors, Max Zigo and Gavin Tola as well. And like yesterday, Bauman had 37, Max Zigo had 39. And Kane and Tola have been in the 30s a good bit. So those guys, and also a kid named Andrew Palco, who's been on our varsity team too. I just wanted to make sure to work those guys' names in. Give them credit.
We appreciate you adding that. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep. Have a good one. Appreciate it. Thanks for the time here.
I'll send them out.
Yeah, guys. Thanks again. Yeah, as always, like I said, thanks just for all the coverage over all the years.
No problem.
All right, we got 10 games on the docket this week.
You look over there.
What the hell are you doing?
I'm looking for my loss last week.
I'm good because I have to do all this extra editing
Where he's
now.
got that big football. That
How
football is about
long
as
have
big
you
as
been
that.
planning that?
Since Friday night.
Look how excited he is. Look at his face.
He has been so quiet for most of today, and then he pulls
That's
that
ridiculous.
crap.
That was so good. You got to admit, that was good. That was
Throw this pen at the wall. Such a jerk move.
Hey,
well played. Deserved.
When you find your loss from last week, let me know when you find your brain.
Brendan with a big week. He was 11-0. He's now
hero!
He's now up, back up to 2-game lead over Derek and I. He's 27-5. Derek and I are 25-7. Derek had the worst week last week. He went 9-2. Let's not sit on that one for too long, though. Sorry, Derek.
First 5 games, we're going to give some analysis. If you can come up with a cohesive sentence, yes. Last 5 games, just our pick and score. First, we're going to start off with the team right up the hill hosting another home game. Most of their schedules at home this year. Hollidaysburg at Butler. Brendan.
Riding a bus as far as Hollidaysburg is, and I did it a few times in high school when we went to Altoona, it's not fun. Like, you're just bored. The buses are slow. You're not driving as fast as a car. They look a lot.
What?
Their statistics look a lot
Remember,
like.
he's our Butler insider.
The details of this story.
Their statistics look a lot like Meadville's in terms of rushing. They have 2 rushers with, I think, over 240 yards rushing. Butler has a pretty big line. I know it's not that deep, but those kids, they really, like, obviously they allowed 350 yards rushing, but it still looked impressive to me, if that makes sense. So I think that Butler moves to 4-0 here. I'll show some belief in them, and I'll say they win this 28-26.
I am going to go opposite on this and say, yes, they looked similar run game-wise to Meadville, but I think they're a little bit more potent. They just beat Altoona earlier this season, which typically is a game they don't win. As Altoona is a mid-pen team, I know a little bit of this history, give or take. So they're already off to a hot start. The 2 rushers that Brendan was talking about, Carter Muth, their running back, and quarterback Cole Delatre, I believe that's how I pronounce it, are at nearly 600 yards each. They're averaging about a combined 6.5 yards per carry and already have 10 touchdowns. I think that combo is going to be what makes it a little bit more difficult for Butler in this one. I'm not like, if I had to put down, a couple cents out of $1, like, give me $1 and I have to split it up. Like, this is like a 60-cent bet here. I'm not very confident in this, but I'm going to take Hollidaysburg 35-27.
So Hollidaysburg is averaging, just the numbers that you threw out there, I'll add this, they're averaging 239 yards rushing per game. Butler is coming off a game in which they won, but they gave up 358 rushing yards to Meadville. You're picking Hollidaysburg. I say not so fast, my friend. The difference in this game is going to be Butler's passing game with Nico Bagetta. Hollidaysburg can throw the ball, but judging from their numbers through 3 games, it looks like it's like one of those things where they throw either when they have to or when the other team is just trying to load the box to stop their running game. I think Butler can throw the ball legitimately, consistently, and I think the passing game for Butler is going to be the difference in a very good game, a tight game. Butler 34-27 over the Golden Tigers.
Butler had 4 interceptions last week, too. 4 different kids had interceptions.
I do think that their pass defense is pretty solid, yeah.
Deer Lakes at Freeport. Freeport's undefeated. They just beat Quaker Valley, who entered that game undefeated. Freeport beat them 42-7. Does Deer Lakes even pose a serious challenge here against Freeport?
I'll be there to see. I enjoy going to Freeport a lot. I think that their balanced offense and the fact that Deer Lakes has 2 straight defeats bodes well for them. Freeport 28, Deer Lakes 13.
Jake.
Answer to your question, Derek, is no. I don't think Deer Lakes has much of a shot in this one. Like I mentioned earlier, I have the Yellowjackets as kind of my number 3A team in my own personal power rankings that matter a whole heck of a lot. I think they're going to keep rolling on this one. I have it a 44-7 victory.
Freeport, I mean, they got a lot of playmakers, but the guy that really sticks out for me right now is Amos Glenn. He has 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns so far this year, and also either an interception or a fumble return, some kind of return on defense for like 60 yards. So that's 3 returns on touchdowns. That's not even taking into account what he's doing rushing the ball. Mm-hmm. He's obviously one of the best running backs around. I don't think Deer Lake maybe they put up a fight for about a half, but I think in the end Freeport pulls away at home to beat Deer Lakes 38-20. All right, this is a game that I stayed up late last night thinking, okay, here's why I should take Mars. Here's why I should take Aliquippa. I didn't make my mind up until this morning. Brendan, Mars hosting Aliquippa. Who you taking?
I don't think that this Aliquippa team is quite like the ones that Mars has faced in the past years. They've had some trouble with Aliquippa. Last year I was at that game at Aliquippa. I think it also helps that they don't have to go there because that's a very hard place to play.
The Pit.
Very spirited fan base there. And the fact that Mars, like you mentioned, they've found ways to win in close games. They also blew out Beaver to start the season. I think that Mars finally gets their win over Aliquippa and wins this one 21-20.
All right, you and I aren't far off on this. If this was at Aliquippa Stadium, they had won 14 straight until they lost last week. That's going back 4+ seasons, I believe. The fact that it's at home for Mars, in theory, should bode well. I, again, am not totally confident in this pick because the Quips probably are going to be smarting off of this loss, and they have good college-bound talent on that roster just like Mars does. But I'm going to take the Plants in this one. I just think that they're too hot right now to stop, and I think they're going to win 20-18.
So, as you mentioned, Jake, Aliquippa lost at home last week for the first time in almost 4 years. That loss came to Avonworth, who is a very good AAA team. Of course, Aliquippa, a 4A team. I'm picking Aliquippa here, but I will admit that I'm basically picking them because of reputation, more so than looking at the individual matchups as far as their running game and Mars's defense, vice versa. It's Aliquippa. I don't see them losing 2 straight games. I think it's going to be a good game, but I have the Planets falling at home to the Quips 25-17. All right, I think our maybe not our pick, but our view on exactly how good these teams would be, at least their record entering this game, is a bit changed from where we thought it would be a month ago before the season. Karn City at Montauk. Both teams are 2-1. Of course, Montauk coming off that win against Bucktail last week. I believe in Montauk's 2 wins this year, they haven't given up a point.
Yep. But
we also know that Karn City's going to pose a bigger challenge than Caldersport and Bucktail. So who are you taking here, Jake?
So part of Montauk's win last week is most of the second half was played under a running clock, even though they hadn't eclipsed 35 points. Bucktail is a very small program. I think they have maybe 20, 21 kids on that roster or something like that. They did have a pretty bad injury right before halftime that required a kid to get taken off on an ambulance. They got him off the field, but went to the hospital. It sounded like there might have been a broken bone or something like that. So Montauk's feeling good right now. I think if you would have, like you alluded to, Derek, a minute ago, if we would have talked about this 3-4 weeks ago, my score would be different. I'm still going to pick Karn City to win this one pretty handily. They're just too big and too deep right now. But I think this is going to be a little bit closer. Karn City 42, Montauk 20. I think Montauk is going to be able to get some late points here to make this look a little bit better than it's going to be. But also Karn City is going to be coming off a loss that I think they're going to be really ticked off about.
Brendan,
I would say the same, except I think that Karn City is going to be looking to avenge last week's loss. I think that they win here 42-7.
you kind of stole my thunder there. I think the worst thing for Montauk entering this Karn City game, the worst thing that could happen was for Karn City to lose the week before this game.
And in the way they did.
I mean, their offense put up 42 points, but they gave up, 56 to Du Bois?
Yeah.
Joe Sherwin is going to be on point as far as whatever they need to do this week. Better tackling. And Du Bois' passing attacks just
Montauk's nowhere near that.
They got Brendan Sankey, but if Karn City can stop Brendan Sankey, and I believe they will, I think Karn City wins this one fairly easily, 38-13. Another backyard rivalry. I'll be at this game. Grove City at Slippery Rock. Slippery Rock coming off a loss last week, and Grove City coming off a win. Who wins this one? At Troy Allen Stadium Friday night. Brendan.
It's rivalry week here, huh? With two straight regional rivalries here. Slippery Rock didn't have a great time against Sharon last week, which we kind of expected. Grove City does have a quarterback who's gone 36 for 60 for 518 yards and 5 touchdowns. I think that's the difference. They also have 2 rushers that have exactly 279 yards.
Damn it! You stole my thunder.
Very, very balanced offense. I think that Grove City wins this one 35-21.
Whatever.
He's reading off Heath Homan's stats, and I'm like, all right, well, I got to skip past that. And then he goes through the rushing stats, and Derek just loses his mind for a moment. I'll add that Levi Toth, the top receiver for the team, has 14 receptions for 249 yards. I know he has more than Max Prep's 0 touchdowns said, because I think there was a game that I read that he had 4 in one, so he's got quite a few. I'm picking Grove City in this one, 37-20. Slippery Rock looked feisty early on with some of the quarterback issues that they were having. Doug Popovich has stepped in admirably for them, but it seemed like in the last week or so, their lack of top-end talent around the rest of the roster is starting to be exposed a little bit. I just don't think they have what it's going to take this week this is not going to be a team that goes winless. It's not a bad team this year. I think last year they were a little bit. I think this team's better than last year, but Grove City I just think is a lot better.
So you mentioned that Grove City has 2 running backs with exactly 279 yards, but I have their names. How about that? Jackson Wilson, and Gavin Purdy, 279 yards rushing, and I believe Purdy has 5 touchdowns already. I think I pretty much agree with you guys. Grove City has a little too much balance on offense, and I think they come into Troy Allen and pull out a 23-14 victory. So I got the Rockets going down. Montour at Knock. Again, Knock's coming off that heartbreaking loss to Fox Chapel. Brendan, did they pick up the first win in TJ Wiley's tenure here?
They do not. Montour 35-14.
I'm taking Montour 30-20.
And I've got Montour 35-17.
North Catholic at Quaker Valley. Jake.
North Catholic continues its streak of 50-plus points a game, wins 54-20.
North Catholic 47-16. Brennan.
Same team, 42-31.
Norwin, it's a good one. I think this is going to be a good game. Norwin at Seneca Valley, Brendan.
Seneca Valley 23, Norwin 14.
I'm going to go opposite on that and say Norwin wins kind of a high-scoring game, 35-21.
Seneca Valley 31-17. Cameron County coming to Reimersburg to play Union AC Valley. Brendan.
Visitors 31-28.
Jake.
Union AC handed its first loss 36-20.
I'm taking Union AC Valley. I'm riding that bandwagon until the wheels fall off. 33-15 Falcon Knights. So you guys are both taking Cameron. I want to make sure of that.
Yep.
Okay. All right. And Saturday's game, 12:30 out in Herman, South Side at Summit Academy. Summit looking for its first win of the season. Jake, do they get it here?
They do not. Southside 35-13.
Southside 38-12, Brennan.
I'm similar to Jake, but 35-14.
Southside.
Yes.
There's the picks for better or worse. In my case, probably worse.
We should do like a brownie bet or pizza bet or something like that for who wins at the end of the year.
Oh, sure. A year after I win, I didn't get anything.
meaning the other two.
Listen, I'm working on a lot of things. I want to get you guys some swag. I want to get you snacks. So we might have to just
I didn't say you were paying for it.
No, I'm not paying for nothing. I'm just saying I'm trying to get it for
Pizza
you.
party.
We're going to have a party. We should do like a
working
book,
at
like,
the car wash.
Like book it like they used to do at Pizza Hut.
Oh, I
Let's
used to
do
read
something like
so
that.
many
We could all
books
have pins.
all the time.
We could put star stickers on them.
Oh, yeah.
Back when Pizza Hut
special.
was great. I miss those Pizza Huts.
I mean, listen, we still have an OG in town. The interior's not the same, but the outside
I
is.
like the salad bar, the old salad bars at
Old
Pizza
salad
Hut.
bars.
Yeah.
I don't like going to salad bars anymore these days. People are
Gross. yes.
disgusting.
Yeah.
People are gross.
Derek, this is why I proposed doing like pizzas for the winter. Is it will be that much sweeter when Brendan falls from grace here over the next 7 weeks and has to buy one of us the pizza.
Or after
Here's
this
the
week,
thing.
I'll be like
what
4
happens?
games
What
up.
happens if Scoop wins? Because he can't. He's a bird. He can't eat regular food.
Well, we'll have
Scoop's
to
not
figure
in
that
the
out.
podcast. So
Oh, that's true. Scoop's not in the podcast.
Sorry, Scoop.
because
For this, it's just us. Three.
Just
Okay.
us three.
Okay, I got you.
Because otherwise, if Scoop loses and has to buy the winter pizza, no one's getting
Be
pizza.
worms on it. Anyways,
What's this black and white stuff on the pizza, Scoop? Oh, okay.
all right. We're running
Derek.
out of music.
over the past 60 seasons, who is the only quarterback to throw for at least 240 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, and no interceptions in his team debut?
Okay, I get a couple minutes to talk about that. Or think about it.
Welcome to Beyond Butler, our weekly segment where we talk about something outside of Butler County, whether that be professionally or collegiately. This time it will be down in Pittsburgh with the Steelers, say win 34-32 on Sunday. They needed Jalen Ramsey's big play at the end to do it, which I thought was pretty impressive. It's cool to have him But what is the biggest thing about the Steelers that worries you? Deshaun Elliott said earlier today to be out day-to-day. Tomlin thinks he's going to be out for this week's game. They go inside Jabril Peppers, the only Michigan player I ever thought was cool, by the way. So I'm happy with that signing. But what worries you most about the Steelers here going forward from a positional standpoint?
Sorry. Assuming everybody, Aaron Rodgers could go down with a, broken collarbone this Sunday. I mean, assuming we're not talking about injury. I'll be honest with you. I know they got a lot of big names on that defense, but it's their rush defense. I'm serious. Look at what Henry did to him last year, and I know that's Derrick Henry, but look at what the Jets running back did to him.
My rebuttal to that would be Derek Harmon is hurt right now, and I feel like he was going to be a big part of that. Cameron Hayward, there's probably a lot of emotions.
Right, but when's Harmon coming back?
Within this month. Tomlin said today that he's going to start to ramp things up, so that's a good sign in his press conference. That's what he said. They definitely want him out there. The Jets, I think, are an interesting case where, honestly, the Ravens are an interesting case too with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry makes no sense as a football player. But the Jets, and I would say the Ravens are like the only two teams in the AFC that have that running quarterback. Like Justin Fields, like he was almost a magician on Sunday, getting away from some of the rushes that came in. I think, though, what worries me most is the fact that Rodgers was sacked 4 times, and Broderick Jones at this point, being a first-round pick that they traded up for, he should be solidified as that left tackle. And instead, people are still worried about how confident he is and whether he is the guy for that job.
For a 41, when you have a 41-year-old quarterback, I don't care how good he is, and Rodgers is obviously still capable. Yeah, you got to – he's not mobile. He's not Ben Roethlisberger who can have 2 defensive linemen hanging on him and still throw a 30-yard pass. You have to have protection for him, and it was not good the other day. Chris Boswell, I do not have any concerns about him.
Oh, my God.
Tomlin called him a serial killer after the game. Did you see that? That's hilarious.
That he cracked the funny. Mike Tomlin cracked the funny. I haven't exactly watched a whole lot of Aaron Rodgers games for the last few years, mainly because I don't really watch the Jets and they're not on TV if I'm not watching NFL Sunday's Ticket. Rodgers, I saw for the first time in several years Rodgers not looking like the Rodgers that I was used to in my 20s, where it's just a guy who ducks and weaves out of traffic, a much faster version of Tom Brady. Tom Brady could always get out of traffic in the pocket. He couldn't really run with it, but Rodgers had that like extra gear that he could get to. And now at 41 years old, he looks every year of that age. So I think the problem that they're going to have to watch for is getting to the quarterback on defense and not letting people get to their quarterback on offense, and not sure that they're going to be well built for either one of those this year. We'll see. Like you said, rookies coming back here soon, but rookie defensive linemen sometimes take a while to really generate pressure. I don't know. I think those are going to be the 2 weaknesses. It was impressive. Calvin Austin, you had a decent passing game that went beyond DK Metcalf and Pat Freiermuth last week.
Ben Skoranek
got in the game for a minute, and
Calvin
Austin had a good day. I think you got
Jonnu Smith.
Also, Kenny Gainwell getting the start.
Tomlin won't explain anything about that share. My boss Alan asked him, and he said, "I am not going to discuss division of labor to you."
He got mad about that.
Yeah, he was a little annoyed. And
I like me some Kenny Gainwell, former Super Bowl champion Eagle Kenny Gainwell, but
here we go.
Not exactly a starting caliber running back there. But the offense looked good outside of the blocking.
Okay, give me those stats again.
The first quarterback in 260 seasons to have, or only quarterback in 60 seasons to have 240 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, and this many interceptions. Derek, right there.
In his team debut.
Yeah.
That was a big fat
Aaron
zero.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
I'm on to him now.
I'm telling you.
No more, who was the first?
He's got his.
Who's buried in Grant's tomb?
he said 4 touchdowns, and I started looking at him because I knew where he was going with this, and he gives me a look after he's done asking me the question, just like, I got him.
Hey, let me ask you this. How many yards did Fields throw for the other day?
I think 230.
How many touchdowns?
218.
I'm not sure he had a passing touchdown. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, though.
He had 1 through the air and two
It was the best case scenario. He had a good game. Steelers won. I'm happy.
Don't you want to see your team's defense do well?
I would have rather saw that, yeah.
Yeah,
but
for them to sustain the season, they need to like amp it up all across the board.
I was disappointed overall in the Steelers defense the other day. They did make some
Except
plays.
for Jalen Ramsey, right?
They did well, and Highsmith had the 1 sack. I don't know what happened to Fields on that play. He just
it's one more than the Eagles had last week.
yeah, so, but just come on, pick it up, guys. You're making a ton of money on that side of the ball. Play the way you're capable of playing. That's all. That's my message. Mike Tomlin, if you need to call me, you got my number.
Listen, I'm
Just
trying
start
to
flashing the number on the screen. 555 1234. Derek Pyle.
8675.
Do you know what song that is?
Yeah. My parents listened to the 80s and car rides.
My parents listened to the 80s. All right.
Have you ever called
309
8675309? I mean, like, what is that like a number to like a?
Well, you need the area code too. You can't just type in the last.
Oh, back now you
numbers.
do. Back when I was a sprout growing up in Fayette County, all you had to do was dial the 7 numbers. You didn't need an area code.
Didn't that just change here?
Like
last year?
I was in college when that happened. Yeah,
we should call it and see what happens.
I
thought.
in college.
Well, oh no, it was. I was in Louisville when they changed it. That you had to use the area code. And
Well,
I
I'm
looked
talking
at
about like
everyone.
around here.
Yeah. I'm saying like, it changed where I grew up in Lehigh Valley when I was like 14 or 15, and now and then I got to I think it was Louisville, and they at some point they changed it that you had to start using area codes, and everyone was lost. And I was like, what do you? I was like, I can't dial a number without using it.
Yeah.
I know the Louisville area code 502.
502.
I know Morgantown, West Virginia, 304.
So what do we?
This is a fun game.
215.
702. Vegas.
Okay.
412.
We've already talked a little bit about the NFL, but
917.
overall, I mean, you had the Chiefs losing week 1 against the
Laura's
Chargers.
doing her own show.
You had that incredible game Sunday night, Bills over the Ravens. What are your main takeaways from week 1 here?
My last straggling thought, since I think we covered like most of the stuff I was thinking about, was Dolphins not fun anymore. That's a bad loss. I think Mike McDaniel is gone after this year, if not before the calendar turns to 2026. I'm just going to reiterate, Jalen Carter, what are we doing? I don't think he's going to get suspended. I think we would have heard by now, but because he basically was suspended for an entire game already. And my last thought is Howie Roseman offering reportedly 2 firsts, a third, and a fifth, among other things, quote unquote, for Micah Parsons. Howie, do better than that. You could have gotten this. You could have gotten him. I know the Cowboys wouldn't have actually traded within the division, but still. 2 firsts, a third, and a fifth.
GM Jake
I would
Adams
love
here.
to see Micah Parsons in that.
There
Eagles
was
jersey.
zero chance I was happening.
Oh, I know. But it should have. I would have liked to see the report. Like, okay, you as the Eagles are leaking to a national reporter. Here's what our offer was for Micah Parsons, and you couldn't just sit there and go, "We offered 4 firsts."
That would be funny.
Like just make it something like a little bit too much, but somewhat
Jalen Hurts.
believable. And instead, it's 2 firsts, a third, and a fifth. Okay.
Jake let me work from home last night after I went to North Catholic's practice. I ducked into my office. I got to use it for the first time since Bailey put it up like a month and a half ago. I got to write in there, and I got NFL Sunday Ticket on Saturday and YouTube TV. So I ducked in there, and I put Monday Night Football in the background, and after I was done with the roundup and everything, it was 17-6 Chicago. I'm like, JJ McCarthy sucks. Let's go. Like, I can't stand him, obviously, because, Michigan. But then somehow they come to life, and he ends up beating the Bears in his hometown. He was a Bears fan growing up. Cool story, but I wasn't happy to see him win.
See, the Bears obviously have an incredible history, right? I mean, how many guys do they have that are in the Hall of Fame that played in like the 30s, 40s? But you take away their Super Bowl in '85, which is now 40 years ago. I can't believe it.
It'd almost be like the Cubs. Like they're
And they had a few, and they got to the Super Bowl in '06 when they played the Colts. They got to the NFC Championship game
Joke of a Super Bowl.
in 2010 when the Packers beat them. But by and large, you look over the last 30 years, I mean, there's a lot of franchises that have had a lot more success than the Bears. They're kind of like a joke in a way almost.
The funniest part thinking about the Bears' ties to Super Bowls is with Peyton Manning. That time when he won, the first Super Bowl that he won against the Bears was in the peak hubbub of he cannot win the big game because he couldn't get past Brady for the longest time.
Devin Hester returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown.
And so he finally gets to the Super Bowl, and what is his reward? You have to face Rex Grossman. What a challenge. I mean, give me game. Any team in the NFL can beat Rex Grossman in the Super Bowl.
Final note on how big of a joke the Bears are. I covered the Steelers practice on Friday before Cam Hayward talked about his contract situation, and I was wearing my orange and blue shirt, and I woke up, my hair was messy. I was like, I don't have time to shower. I'm just going to throw a hat on. Grab my Bears hat, put it on. I get to practice, so some of the other writers there were like, why are you wearing a Bears hat here? They're going to say something. I was like, oh, I feel stupid. No one said a thing. So that's what they think of the Bears in Pittsburgh, I guess. So that's a nice little final note.
Yeah. What? Who?
The who?
The Bears.
As a Steelers fan, obviously I took note and delight in watching the Ravens fall apart on Sunday night. Also, I kept an eye on the other game involving the division teams, Cincinnati and Cleveland. I don't know if you saw the stats from this game. Cincinnati beat Cleveland 17-16, and they put up less than 150 yards of offense.
And they had 7 net yards in the second half.
I think they had 143 yards of offense. I mean, Joe Burrow. I mean, Jamar Chase is still there, right?
Did you see the clip of Joe Burrow getting popped by Myles Garrett? Myles Garrett had a straight runway to him, just clobbered him.
It was 3 sacks for Garrett, right?
He had 3 sacks.
I think that's what I heard.
Oh, man. We're going to have to hear about that all year.
Right now, the Steelers, who
where Tomlin
offense
won.
all over the place, and their win over the Jets, and Cincinnati, who put up 143 yards of offense, are tied for first place in the division.
So, Brendan, I asked this in the office last night. The Bills-Ravens game was a scoregami, and it wasn't the main reason, but I started going to the scoregami and looking up some trivia stuff. Can you guess the final score, so the winning team, losing team, that has happened most often in NFL history?
21-10.
Not far off. 20-17.
2017.
20-17 has happened going into the season 297
I should have asked him that as a trivia question. That would have been hard to get.
I asked him last night. He would. What was your? I think you guessed 21-17.
My original guess was 24-17.
20. That's it. Yeah.
And then I guess 3 other ones before I got it right, and I said, yes, I nailed it. Next week, week 4. Have a good one.
We're out.
We encourage you to subscribe to the Butler Eagle YouTube channel and Apple or Spotify podcasts or your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Alter Eagle Podcast and at Butler Eagle News. Goodbye.